I just got back. I was in Massachusetts over the weekend. Now you from Massachusetts? I went to my 20th high school reunion, which was a lot of fun. We had a big turnout, thanks to Mike Dukakis' weekend furlough program. You know, so that worked out great. You know, all my old teachers were there, which was great, you know. And, you know, they're still as strict as ever, boy. Before I could go into the party, I had to take this stupid makeup exam. You know. Yeah, it was stupid, too, I'll tell you that right now. The Thanksgiving Day, now, did you see this group of North American Indians protested in Washington? They demanded their land back, which, you know, I think I really understand how they feel. You know, maybe we should go protest in Tokyo, see if we can get our land back. You all watch the Thanksgiving Day parade? That was kind of fun. Oh, gee, sorry. No, you're not of the Thanksgiving faith, apparently. That is... You watch the Thanksgiving parade? Yeah. Yeah, you watch the parade? You know, actually, it's a kind of strange form of entertainment when you think about it. I mean, when the Beatles wrote Yesterday, do you think they really intended to have it played by 40 tubas and a bass drum? Da-na-na, boom, da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, boom. You know, it's not quite... The press followed George Bush around Thanksgiving Day, and they showed the president-elect sitting down at dinner and saying a prayer, which is kind of nice. You know, he said he was grateful for many things, but he was most thankful for his good health. Not as thankful as the rest of us, pal. I'll tell you something. Now, here's something that annoys... They do this every year, you know? You ever notice they always come out with a horror movie to accompany whatever holiday is happening at that particular time? So this is true. When prom season was out, they had Prom Night, a movie about teenagers getting slashed and cut up. Every Halloween, they have those awful Halloween 1, 2, 3, and 4 more slasher movies. See that one that opened Thanksgiving Day? Turkey. Now it's his turn to do the carving. You know, it's just terrible. This was in the paper today. The police in Miami have a new plan to deal with the problem of the homeless. They just arrest them now. Did you see this? This is true. They arrest homeless people now. You know, when I was a kid, my mom or my grandmother always used to say, it's no crime to be poor. Boy, it's a good thing she didn't retire in Florida, huh? They had another goofy Geraldo Rivera special last week, the trial of Lee Harvey Oswald. How can the guy be on trial? He's been dead for 25 years. You know, I don't want to see the trial of somebody who's been dead. I want to see the trial of someone who's alive. How about the trial of Geraldo Rivera for making us waste our time all the time? Yeah, yeah. Speaking of Geraldo, do you see his show on Friday? That's the one where he interviewed the 67 pounds that Oprah lost. Yeah. Hey, you know, it's kind of strange. When you do a job like this, people always ask you, as a comedian, you know, are you afraid of running out of material? But you see, I think God kind of watches over comedians in a special way. You see, like, for example, now that Reagan's leaving the White House, he gives us Dan Quayle. See it all? Actually, Quayle met with Nixon last week. You know about this? Well, you got to be in pretty bad shape when you meet with Nixon to improve your image. Actually, Nixon defended Quayle. Did you see that? He said that Quayle is not an intellectual midget. This is from the man who once said, I am not a crook. You see, so all pretty much done. You think? You think that's really a good idea, Quayle and Nixon getting together? I mean, to me, it's kind of like winning the New York City Marathon and then having to meet with Ben Johnson. You know, it doesn't point to something. Ooh, now what are you oohing? You don't even know what you're oohing about. Are you Ben's family? Are you here visiting? U.S. farmers got a real nice Christmas present from the government this week. To see that they were told to either pay their debts or get off their farms. You know what? This is unbelievable. Now, see, how come we kick out American farmers who owe the government $30,000, but foreign countries who owe us billions, we treat them like friends? You see, the trouble is the farmers are thinking too small. See, if they borrowed $5 or $10 billion instead of $30,000, maybe they get some respect in this country. I was watching Beauty and the Beast the other night. You like this show? Yeah, I guess the romance is going along pretty good. You know, it's about that guy who's, what, half man, half cat. Guess the other night, he took Catherine, that's the woman on the show, he took her out on a date, and he gave her a beautiful fur coat that he'd made up of his own coughed-up fur balls. Our new good buddies, the Russians, are in the news again this week. Yeah, they say they want to have more American fast food outlets in their country. Boy, they think their lines are long now, huh? What do you get stuck at that drive-up window at Taco Bell around noontime in Moscow? This was in the paper over the weekend. They had a big series called Glamour in Glasnost. It seems that several world-famous designers were exhibiting their fashions in Russia. I think Bill Blass and Oscar de la Renta. I think Bob Mackie was there. I guess Russian women really want to look fashionable for the next big beef shortage. More news on Elvis. He hasn't been sighted in a while. You know, there hasn't been an Elvis sighting yet. There's a reason, though. Apparently, it turns out he's the one that's been flying that new stealth bomber. You know, I'll tell you something. I don't understand what all this hoopla is about planes that are invisible to radar. Continental and East have been flying those for years. Actually, this is a big step forward, this stealth technology, making an entire plane disappear. You know, up to this point, the best the airline could do before was just lose your luggage. Actually, you know, I don't even care about making a whole plane disappear. The only thing I want to disappear is that kid that keeps kicking the seat behind me. And last but not least, Phil Donahue was in the news this week. Did you hear what he said? He said he was afraid of being called the most intelligent talk show host. That's a lot like saying Mo was the brainiest stooge. You know. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we got a great show. We have Barbara back from my high school union. Before we get on, let me show you this. You know, it's funny. You go back. I don't know whether it's me or if everybody else just looks older. This is the guys that I used to hang around with. I took a picture. Can you get a shot of the reunion? Get a shot of the guys there? Look how old these guys look. Gee, there's my friend Louie there. There's Bruce. There's Lee. There's my buddy Bob O'Brien. Look, I am the youngest guy in my group. Isn't that amazing there? It's hard to believe those guys are only 30. Nice to see you.
It's nice to see you. By the way, I'm from Massachusetts, from Brookline. You anywhere near from Brookline?
Well, I'm from Andover, but I went to school. I lived at 1754 Commonwealth Avenue in Brookline. So I'm right
So
down
we're
the street.
neighbors. We went to school together. Give or take a couple of years.
That's right. I think you were a senior and I was a sophomore.
Aren't you nice?
But I do remember you. You're the prettiest girl in the class.
You had wonderful blue eyes, I remember.
Well, I thank you. I was afraid to approach you then, so this is kind of fun. Now, tomorrow night is a big night for you.
That's right. That's right. We never thought we would last more than, I don't know, 2 seasons, and it's been 12 years for us, and it's our 50th special.
Wow.
The good and the bad and the... And we talk about all the mistakes that we made, because we made a few in 12 years.
What are some of the better mistakes, would you say, that you...
Some of our better mistakes? I can think of one that turned out okay.
Yeah.
That started out... A year ago, we did Sean Connery, whom I love. We went to... Spain, southern Spain, to do an interview with him. And we were doing, you know, going along, and I do a lot of homework when I do interviews. And one of the things that I had read was that years before he had said that if you just can't handle a woman, and I mean she really begins to drive you nuts, it isn't such a terrible thing to slap her. So I brought that up, thinking he'd say, oh, that was years ago, Barbara. And he said, yes. He said, I still feel the same way. I said, you do? He said, yes, of course, only with the open hand, never like this.
Oh, no.
And we went on talking about it. I thought, kind of jokingly, the program went on the air, and he got blasted by the press. We got
I remember that, sure.
Remember, we got letters from women saying, how could you do this? How could this man, you know, what about feminism? He had only done the interview, I think, because he was up for an Academy Award for The Untouchables, and he doesn't like a lot of publicity. And I felt awful. I thought, we've ruined this. We've ruined the Oscar for him. And the night of the Academy Awards, when he won, and he walked across the stage and picked up his Oscar, our producer called me. I was watching at home, and she said, Barbara, we're off the hook.
Oh, yeah, good. That's the night he decked Sally Fields, I think.
That's right. But with his hand open, with his hand open.
Have you ever regretted asking a question? I mean, is there a... Well, I guess that's it. Have you regret... I mean, when you, for example, if you ask something and you get the answer that you don't want to hear, do you feel obligated to put it on the air regardless?
Well, we have never done an interview that we haven't aired. I mean, we've never said, oh, is that boring, and left it off. You know, I mean, there are programs where they cut it all down to 2 minutes. So we've run everything that we've done. Some are better than others. Some questions that I ask, when I look back on them, they sound sort of stupid. But we try at the end of each interview to go for something that goes da-dum, you know, so that we can end the interview. So if you just hear the question, they sound very...
Right.
Should I try some on you?
No. Like, what,
Yeah.
what would you say to me or something?
Well, these are some of the questions that we ask people at the end of an interview.
All right.
All right?
All right, go ahead.
Okay. What is the greatest misconception about you?
The greatest misconception about me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually, people think I'm huge in person. People think I'm like 6'5" and weigh 800 pounds or something. I'm always getting people to come up to me on the street and say, hey, my boyfriend looks like you, and I meet the guy, and he's like a huge, big, fat guy.
So that you're really... You want everyone to know that you're 5'2" and you weigh 128.
No, I don't care. That's probably a misconception, but that would be probably one of them.
Okay, if you had to describe yourself in 3 words.
3 words?
Yeah.
Describe myself?
Yeah.
Male, Caucasian, dangerous.
That would be the perfect ending. I mean, that's what would freeze.
Oh, I see. Then you would freeze on male, Caucasian, dangerous with the 3 shots.
Everybody would say... Then sometimes we've asked, if your life were a screenplay, if your life were made into a movie, what would the title be?
If my life was a screenplay?
If your life were a movie, what would the title be?
What would the title be of a movie? Oh, gosh. Roger Rabbit or something? I don't...
See, that's when you say, when I think back on the questions, and by the way, I can never answer the questions, it seems to me, that I have asked.
Yeah, but what would you say? What would your movie be? Do you know what screenplay would...
I said I couldn't even answer what's the greatest misconception.
Hmm?
You know, I don't have, fortunately, all I have to do is ask them. I never have to.
That's right. See, now we've got you. Now we've got you on the spot.
If you did this to me, I don't know what I'd say.
Well, how about these, like when you go to these people's homes, are you impressed by...
You know, most of the homes are really rather comfortable. I loved Farrah Fawcett's house because in addition to her, and we show all the houses on the program, but in addition to, you know, the normal house, she had built a wonderful room that had everything. It had big couches and a grill and a fireplace. You could spend your whole life in that room. And then off to the right was a racquetball court.